Finally, he started to work with the therapy at Wellspring. And slowly, bit by bit, he started to come around to their philosophy. Early on, I'd say in the first 4 weeks or so, he began to earn weekend passes. So the weekend of Michael's birthday, he finally got released, and he was at the birthday party, and I remember looking at him and thinking, oh, it looks like a boy.
Thank you. Let's take the blue.
I mean, the old Evan would have been too cool. He would have been turning up his nose. He would have been sneering. He wouldn't have in a million years let the clown paint his face, okay? Never. He allowed himself to be a kid. I saw those sort of layers peel away. And a lot of it had to do with how strict.
All that done.
The whole family went to Wellspring, and we all learned. And when it was over, here we had this kid again, and what do we do with him? So we decided to see whether we could get him into a mainstream school, which was sensitive to kids who had issues. We would get a report card, and he was like one of the best students in the class. The teachers were saying, I wish all my students were like Evan. He got the prize in the science project.
So what's this?
My science fair. It's about how to make a hologram. Guys, got the ribbon? There's a ribbon.
I was totally optimistic about his health and the direction that he was going to go. When I'd come home from school and spend holidays, I remember remarking to myself, you know, this is a much more warm, loving household than it was 2 years earlier. I guess that's what I saw after Wellspring, that Dana and my father really showing him that within our family lies a really strong foundation that he can trust. And during that time, it really did seem like everything was under control.
As the years went by after Wellspring, and he continued to be the top student in his class, he continued to have good friends, that there weren't any big issues, I thought that maybe he was cured. You know, maybe he's going to have a life. You know, I'd go with Evan to visit his older brother at college, and Evan was like looking at college and thinking, well, I can do it. I can have a life like this.
Run, Mike. Run, Evan.
You know, I mean, Evan was never, you know, like an over-the-top, you know, effervescent, happy kid. But from all the markers, is he getting into trouble? No, not at all.
Can you do the fish? Fish! Like this?
I'm gonna do the snake.
Like this? I can do the seizure.
Have we seen the police? And we certainly did see the police for a number of occasions before Wellspring. No police.
I got you. Take it with me.
Evan was doing so well. It was like a miracle. You couldn't believe it. You just couldn't believe it. Is this the same kid?
Okay.
He didn't want to be different. What teenage boy does?
We were like, did you hear us yelling outside? We were like, Evan! 3E, 3W, whatever.
He really hated being sick.
Yeah, so I'll see you guys there. I just have to wait for some.
Okay, it's just Angelo's around the corner.
All right.
Bye.
I'll see you soon.
Bye. Oh my gosh, what?
The roof incident.
Oh, are we talking about this again?
Evan sucked me. He's like, I'm not like that anymore.
Are you better now? Yay, high five.
A lot of the time, he seemed really out of it to me. And I really attributed that to his drugs. Because I remember going through a turnstile door with him and him sort of just stopping in the middle or not really paying attention to what was going on around him. And I'd stop and say, what is it with this kid? And I'd say, oh, well, he's taking lithium.
We had been talking for a while about trying without the medication because it made him tired, it made his mouth dry. It was really something he didn't want to do. So we said, okay. You know, you really want to try this? And he really did. And the doctor said, okay. So he gradually went down in the lithium dose over a course of 4 to 6 weeks.
March 30th, 2005. Lithium 0.56, now subtherapeutic. 1,200 milligrams, didn't take meds for a few days, became, quote, more talkative. At first, decreased lithium was difficult, now fine. He feels better on lower dose. He seems so fine.
Also, I remember we talked to him head on. Do you have thoughts of suicide? Do you want to kill yourself? Do you want to harm yourself? And he said, no, I don't.
Kids know that if they say certain things or if they do certain things, they're going to be stopped. Especially if they have parents who are attentive to what's going on with them. So if a kid really doesn't want to be stopped, he's not going to say anything. Evan may have gotten to the point where he got really just better at masking it externally. But internally, it's a lot of suffering. And this was just the beginning. I mean, it started when he was much younger, and it wasn't going away.
We went on vacation for 2 weeks in Nantucket, and he seemed depressed. He seemed subdued, didn't seem too happy. He wasn't doing good.
Then school started. He's sullen, he's depressed. As the weeks unfolded in September, he started getting more anxious about his homework. And at one point, he came to me, he said very seriously, Mom, I need your help. I need you to stay after me.
We had contacted his psychiatrist and tried to make a meeting as soon as possible to increase his dose of lithium.
We said, let's get him back on the lithium. This experiment didn't work. So we made an appointment with the doctor for the following Tuesday, October 4th.
I remember the officers asking me whether there was a suicide note, and I hadn't even thought about that, and we looked around his room and there was nothing, and then he pointed to the computer and opened it, touched the screen, and sure enough, a letter came up. To be honest, the gist of the letter was what every fucking 15-year-old thinks about themselves. That I'm not good enough, no one likes me, things won't get better. The difference is, Evan felt that 20,000 times stronger than any normal 15-year-old, and he believed more strongly that things wouldn't get better and that there was no future, and living was too painful, too difficult, and death was his only answer. But it was, verbatim. I could have checked off that list, and if he had showed me that note before he made his decision, I could have gone through it with him and said, thought that, thought that, thought that. I realized they're all untrue for me. They're definitely all untrue for you. And some of the qualities about yourself that make you feel different right now, you're going to learn in 5 years that those are your best qualities, and those are what set you apart from people and make you interesting and attract others to you. But that opportunity did not arise.
So what do you make of that?
I think that he foresaw, he must have been getting a glimpse of adult life, and that he foresaw that he was not going to make it in the way that he wanted to make it. In psychiatry, it's like bipolar is our cancer. It kills people. You do everything you can, and some people can't be saved, and probably we could have saved, definitely we could have saved him for a while. But he would have gone off his medication. These kids do, they all go off them. And when he went off, he just went so fast. Maybe his illness was changing into the type where people really do get crazy. He never talked about any of this.
Any of that?
No.
Nope, he never talked about any of this. He denied feeling it, he never talked about any of this. Never did he say anything like he didn't trust his friends.
But this is crazy talk.
That's crazy talk.
Crazy talk, but it's done so sanely, numbered, and so precise. This is what makes me so mad with all the portrayals of mental illness that you see on TV and movies. It's like raving, crazy, foaming at the mouth, not sanely sitting there, hyper sanely, typing this horrible thing out, just methodically, already knowing he was going to do it. That's insanity.